Good evening, baseball fans. How you doing? We got a few things to talk about tonight. The Phillies look like garbage lately. The Brewers are gaining. The Blue Jays are going to the playoffs. We're going to talk a little Carlos Correa free agency. We can never talk about free agency too early. And Aaron Judge, is he the true home run king? We're going to dive into it, everyone. We're going to dive into it. How is everyone doing? Hello. Welcome to tonight's stream. A lot of familiar faces here. I'm seeing some members. Andrew Lee, how you doing, my friend? What's going on? Alex Conway, yes, I remember you, my friend. How you doing? All Around Lacey, 127. Hello, how are we doing? Tyler Burbeck, hello. Jimmy, David, how are we doing, my friends? Hello. Wolfpack, 1977. Adit Mahmood, hello. Wolfpack again, hello. TDE, how you doing, my friend? How you doing? Everyone, welcome to tonight's stream. You know, I feel like I haven't done one of these streams in a while. I mean, we've been doing the power rankings every single week, and I feel like I haven't really done a news kind of a stream. We're just kind of talking about stuff. We're getting to that point now. We're about a week away from the playoffs. And Andrew Lee, thank you for signing up for a membership for the 12th straight month. Really do appreciate that. But yeah, not a lot of streams, you know, in the last, my goodness, feels like almost a month or two. Like I said, we've been doing the power rankings every single week. We've been doing some hot takes here or there over the last couple of months. But, you know, it feels good to kind of start diving back into these streams where with the playoffs coming up, I will be kicking these up more, especially reacting to all of the finishes when the playoffs come. We're going to be doing a lot more live streams over the next month. But we do have a few things to talk about tonight. Going to kind of just get an idea of what's going on with certain playoff races. We got the wild card in the National League. We got the National League East. We got couple of teams clinching some spots in the American League. We'll dive into that as well. And, honestly, you all know me. I love free agency. I love the offseason. I love the trade rumors. I love the game of baseball, but I love the rumors and all that stuff almost just as much. And Carlos Correa, we're going to dive into that. That's pretty interesting. I will be actually making a video on what teams that I think are the best fits for Carlos Correa. I might do that actually tomorrow. Look out for that. I might do one on Aaron Judge as well. Why not? We can never get started too early on the offseason. But we got a few things to talk about tonight. But before I do get to those things, if you are new, hit the subscribe button down below. Hit the like button. Hit the bell button, the share button. Especially the like button, everyone. YouTube, the algorithm likes the like button more than ever, so please hit that like button for me. And our goal is to get to 27,000 subscribers by the end of the playoffs, so definitely hit that like button, or hit that subscribe button if you are new. Don't forget, we have partnerships here on the channel. Sponsoring tonight's stream, we have SeatGeek. I know we only have, maybe 6 more days of season left, so definitely take advantage. Use my code for a baseball game while you still can. Don't forget, you can use this code for any game or any event that you're going to if you buy a ticket on SeatGeek, whether you're going to go see a football game, basketball game, a concert. Use my code HYDE. You get $20 off your first purchase. And if you are into the sports betting game, go on Prize Picks. Go check it out. If you're a fan of FanDuel and DraftKings, I think you will like Prize Picks as well. You play the over-unders. If you use my code GINGER, you'll get a 100% deposit match. Also, everyone, we just had our first episode of the Believe in Red Sox podcast together, and that was with Ellis Burks joining the show this past Monday. He will be on the show from here on out. We will be co-hosting the show together. It was awesome to have him on the show for the first time this past Monday. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. We just talked about the Red Sox this past year, what we think went wrong with the Red Sox. We dabbled in a couple other things as well. About an hour long, so if you got some time, go take a listen on that. So, everyone, let's get to it here. Let me just make sure this is right here. Okay, here we go. Okay, there we go. How you doing? But let's get to it. Oh, we got a super chat coming in. Toxic Tom Downey burner account. 6 games left. Do the O's end with a winning record? Well, I don't see why not. The Orioles right now, 80 and 76. I mean, I know they've been kind of slumping a little the last few games, but why not? I don't see why they couldn't. I mean, I think they will. I'll say maybe 83 wins. How about that? 83 wins, so 83 and 79 on the year. Either way, whatever they finish with, I think it's an amazing season that they've had because they are completely ahead of expectations. Fangraphs, I think, had them at like 62 wins coming into this year, so they've completely blown through that. Either way, a remarkable season for the Baltimore Orioles. So let's get to it here. Let's get the music started. Let's get the vibes right. Also, everyone, I mean, I gotta say, also, I've been going through a hurricane the last couple of days. I did not get the worst of it. I'm praying for everyone, in Southwest Florida. Fort Myers, Naples, they got absolutely obliterated. One of the worst hurricanes in Florida history. It's right up there. Hurricane Andrew was really bad. I think that was 1993 or in the early to mid 90s. Can't remember the year. But man, Hurricane Ian, man, wow. Like it came through Orlando, but it did not have the biggest impact on us. We got a ton of rain. There's a lot of flooding all around. I mean, I was taking a walk this morning. There was still a lot of wind and some rain. I like to go on my walks, so a little hurricane is not going to stop me from getting my steps in. But I was walking this morning, a ton of flooding just everywhere. Like my usual route, like some streets were completely inaccessible. I was actually walking on one street, and I saw a car had been deserted. And funny enough, I was on Instagram, and a good friend of mine sent me a video of someone that was walking around with their phone, like filming stuff, maybe like a few hours before. And that exact car was in the video that I saw. And like the reason that it was deserted was because the flooding was so bad and they got stuck. So they just completely ditched their car right in the middle of a street. But yeah, just it's rough. It's rough right now. Fort Myers, the houses are literally being swept away right now. Really rough time. And hey, but overall here in Orlando, Central Florida, we're doing okay. Nothing crazy going on. We've had a lot of trees falling down, wind, rain. So, but again, Fort Myers, I'm praying for all of you. So, here we go. Oh, we got another super chat here. Nick Kowal, what's going on? Francisco Alvarez being called up. Hey, big series with the Mets and the Braves this weekend. I mean, that's the division right there. I mean, this is blockbuster right here. What a great series that's going to be. I'm excited for it. I'm really excited for it. Francisco Alvarez, hey, he's had himself a pretty good year. Let's see if he can help out. But let's get to it here. So, the Phillies. What is going on here with the Phillies, man? They are just completely falling apart. They got swept by the Cubs today. They've lost 5 straight overall. Record falling to 83 and 72. They're 3-7 in their last 10. Milwaukee, in their last 10, they're 5-5. It's not like they're completely, setting the world on fire. They're just doing what they can to hang around. And actually right now, I believe they are down. They were, where is the game? They were winning at one point. Where is the game? Oh, they just lost. Oh, game over. Okay. All right. Well, Miami ended up taking the win there. I think they had a home run. Let's take a look here. Yeah. Avisail Garcia with the grand slam. Oh, he hit that in the top of the 8th. Wow. Look at that. Freddie Peralta was getting the nod today. Let's see what ended up going on here. Oh, wait, no. Oh, Peralta was coming out of the bullpen. Okay. So he ended up blowing it. Wow. Lauer had a really good start. Man, what a wasted start from Lauer. 5 innings, only give up a hit, and he struck out 9. Ugh, he was only at 71 pitches. Is he on a pitch count or something? Why did you take him out at 71 pitches? Why? I don't get that. I don't know. I'm one of those guys, man, where it's like, dude, get 6 or 7 out of him. I'm guessing he was on maybe a pitch count or something. No, he was. I mean, they did. It looks like they skipped the start. I don't remember if he was hurt or not, but I don't know, man. That would have been a lot better. Maybe you could have gotten another inning out of him. Something. But Freddie Peralta ended up blowing it here. Grand slam to Avisail Garcia. And, hey, that was their chance right there. Could the Brewers look back on this game and maybe be like, man, that was the one we needed to win? But either way, actually, let me refresh here. Taking a look. So the Brewers are a half game back. That was their chance to take the lead. That was their chance. And I don't know. Maybe the Phillies really caught themselves a break. But let's see what's going on with the Phillies here. Their offense lately really slumping. 23rd in WRC plus over the last 7 games. I mean, you take a look at some of these guys. Rhys Hoskins is hitting. Kyle Schwarber, a couple of homers. He's getting on base. Alec Boehm, he's hitting pretty well. 304 to 370 on base over his last 7. Brandon Marsh is hitting. But a lot of these guys are slumping. Bryce Harper. I feel like I haven't heard anything about Bryce Harper. He's driving in runs, 7 RBIs. But he's not really doing all that much, only hitting 158, 269 on base. You'd like to see him, maybe get on base a little bit more. Matt Vierling struggling. He was hot there for a little bit. Gene Segura not really doing all that much. JT Realmuto's slumping. Bryson Stott not doing anything with the bat. So they got a couple of guys performing, but not everyone, But if you take a look at the pitching, they're getting some decent starting pitching. 10th overall over their last 7. The ERA, so when we're looking at the FIP here, it's a 3.48. So that's about a full run lower than the ERA. So let's see where they rank in FIP. FIP, they're 10th overall, but let's take a look at where they rank ERA. So, yeah, the ERA is 18th overall over the last 7. So I do like the FIP, but when we're just looking at the last 7 games, it's the ERA, it's not too pretty. So the starting pitching, I think they got to lock it down a little bit more. The FIP, though, gives me hope, right? It gives me a better feeling about the Phillies moving forward, because that is a good FIP. And the bullpen has been really good lately. They're 0-2 over their last 7, but the numbers look really good. A 1.69 ERA, a 1.47 FIP, 10.5 strikeouts per 9, a walk and a half per 9, no home runs allowed. They're performing well. It looks like they're just having some tough luck out there. So I think the Phillies, they're just hitting a slump at the worst time. You need some of these guys in the offense to really start getting some offense going. I think the starting pitching, they can shore this up just a little bit more. I think they're going to be in good shape. The bullpen is performing well, so that can give Philly fans hope, some hope there. Aaron Nola, he's been doing well. I mean, if you take a look at what some of these guys are doing, Kyle Gibson had a bit of a rough go, but he had a good amount of strikeouts, over 5. Suarez was good in his last start, so Nola and Suarez got wins, but Falter, he just got put into the rotation. Noah Syndergaard got moved to the bullpen, so Falter looked pretty bad. Could you go back to Syndergaard there? I mean, you're not getting bad starting pitching at all. I mean, and actually, when we looked at those numbers, Bailey Falter is, out of these guys, by far the worst. Kyle Gibson, yeah, he gave up a few runs there, but in the end, Falter, that is definitely the one big blemish. So I think with the Phillies, I don't know. I just think in my gut, it's like, where am I at with it? I mean, my gut is telling me the Phillies are going to hang on to this. But at the same time, it's like, I wouldn't be surprised if they end up blowing it, because that's just such a Philly thing to do, where it's like, I don't know. The Phillies, man, it's just a good team all around. And the fact that they're just hitting a slump. Everyone goes through slumps. They're just hitting it at the worst time. You don't want to mess around. With this Brewers team, they got good pitching. The offense has been pretty good over the last month. So the Phillies, man, they got to turn this around, and they got to do it quick. The good thing is the bullpen is performing. You do have some guys hitting. You just got to get some of these other guys going. Maybe you could do something different with Bailey Falter there. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know, but the Phillies, they got to turn this around. Let's take a look at the schedule for the Phillies moving forward. And actually, let me look at the playoff odds really quick. So, right now, let's go to the wild card. Fangraphs, they have right now the Phillies at a, well, this did just, the Brewers just went final, so I would imagine that percentage is going to fall a little bit, but they still like the Phillies a little bit more. And that's kind of right in line with where I was thinking, right? Percentage-wise, it's pretty close with how they have, their numbers set up. But, the Phillies have a slightly tougher schedule. The Brewers definitely got a bit of a tougher go over the next few games. So let's actually go take a look at those schedules rather quickly here. So again, getting swept by the Cubs. But you know what? The Cubs have actually been playing some okay ball over the last couple of weeks. The Cubs actually, I believe on my last power rankings, there were some good things going on with the Cubs. I think the pitching was doing pretty well. But taking a look here, I mean, you're the Phillies. You're feeling pretty good here. You got the Nationals for 4. So, the Nationals are the Nationals. I think C.J. Abrams did just have a walk-off hit in the last game or two. I can't remember where that was. But you got the Nationals for 4. It is on the road, so it is a favorable matchup. But then you got the Astros on the road. But then again, with the Astros, they've pretty much locked stuff up. They might be resting some guys, getting some guys fresh. So while the Astros, yeah, they've had a really good season, they might not have their full strength out there. So I think the Phillies definitely are a little more favorable here. Well, actually, before I make that conclusion, let's go to the Brewers' schedule. So with the Brewers, you got the Marlins tomorrow. Oh, no, you got the Marlins the next few days. And then you got the Diamondbacks. So, I don't know. And the Nationals have nothing to play for either. The Astros series, to me, I just think the Astros are going to be resting guys. So, that's what I'm thinking. I don't know. I think the Phillies, to me, I got my money on them. Their numbers don't look bad. It's some guys are hitting, sure. And some guys are slumping too. The starting pitching, I think, is fine. You've had a couple of rough starts in the last 7, but the bullpen's looking really good. I don't know. I just think the Phillies are going to hang on to this. They're hitting just a really rough time right now. I think they're going to be fine. I don't know. But then again, this Brewers pitching. The one thing about the Brewers, you don't want them getting into the postseason, man. You don't. Because this offense has been rather good. If we go take a look here. Really quick here. Let me close out some tabs. Okay, so the Brewers. The Brewers are actually pitching very well lately. 4th overall in starting pitching when it comes to ERA. A really good FIP of 2.32 over their last 7. So they're pitching, they're hitting their stride. Taking a look at the offense over the last 7. In Milwaukee, they're hitting. So 13th overall, way better than the Phillies. Phillies over their last 7 have a 79 WRC plus, while Milwaukee has a 107. Let's see what some of these guys are doing. Colton Wong. Colton Wong has actually not had a very good defensive season this year, but the bat lately, he's really picking it up with the bat. Look at Hunter Renfroe. Hunter Renfroe, I feel like, has been pretty underrated this year. I mean, he's having a good season. I mean, look at this season that Hunter Renfroe's having. He's got 28 homers, a 491 slugging. Really solid. Really solid. Man, he's getting pretty close to what he had last year in homers. Man, I miss Hunter Renfroe. Would have been nice. Rowdy Tellez, he's got a couple of homers. Luis Urias, he's got he's decent batting average over the last 7. You got some other guys slumping. Yelich, he's been terrible. Willie Adames, he was hot there for a little bit, but now he's come back down. Omar Narvaez, Tyrone Taylor. You need some of these other guys down here. So I would say similar to the Phillies. Some guys are doing okay. Some guys are not. But the Brewers pitching, man, you do not want the Brewers pitching getting into this postseason. That's a scary thought. Let's actually go take a look here. Let me go back to the starters for the Brewers. Let's see. Last 7. Milwaukee. Where were we? So they're 5th overall in Fangraph WAR over the last 7. Woodruff has been really good. Look at Woodruff. My goodness. 12 innings in his last 2 starts. ERA of 0.75. FIP of 1.45. Luke 22, thank you for becoming a member for the 8th straight month, my friend. I do appreciate that. Corbin Burns, he's always fantastic. Freddie Peralta just had the blown save tonight. Lauer, he pitched really well tonight. Tough luck, no decision there for him. But yeah, so, you know, starting pitching for both sides, overall, I'd say doing pretty good. Let's take a look at the relievers. I mean, the Phillies bullpen, the Brewers bullpen, just fantastic. Look at Devin Williams. Jesus, this guy's just having a really good year. Let me actually, let me just go to all teams. Where are the Brewers overall with their bullpen? Over their last 7, the Brewers bullpen. Let's take a look. 10th overall. So, I don't know. I think the Phillies, number-wise, I think they're matching up with the Brewers pretty well. But it's definitely going to come down to the wire. I am going to lean towards the Phillies here. I think, you got that series with the Nationals. I think that's a favorable matchup. Again, division matchups I think are always tough, but I just like the Phillies in there, man. You know what? Let me actually, really quick. How are the Phillies doing against the Nationals this year? Let's take a look, shall we? And is Sandy Alcantara pitching against the Brewers too? That's another thing. All right, Phillies against the Nationals. Yeah, they're 13-2 against the Nationals this year. I'm not worried about the Phillies and the Nationals, but I think Sandy Alcantara is pitching in this series. Let's take a look. Yeah, he's pitching tomorrow. So that's not going to be easy for the Brewers. That's going to be a tough matchup. And then you got Edward Cabrera on Saturday, and then you got Pablo Lopez on Sunday. That's tough pitching. Tough pitching. So my money's on the Nationals here. Or sorry, not the Phillies, especially with the Nationals. The Astros are going to be resting guys that last series. I think it would be cool if the Brewers could get in. But if you're going to have me throw some money down, I'm going Phillies. I know they're playing a tough stretch of baseball right now, but I think they're going to find a way to hang on to it. The numbers look okay. They just need to put together some wins. So, moving on here. Let's see what you guys are saying here in the chat. What are you saying here? What do we got? Let's see. Ratchet, who do you guys have for the wild card series, Cleveland or Seattle? I mean, I'm going Seattle, man. I love what Cleveland's done this year, but I like Seattle, man. I just love the starting pitching that they have. I love Luis Castillo. I love Logan Gilbert, George Kirby, Robbie Ray. I love that. Like, that's going to be pretty formidable, in my opinion. And then just that offense has been pretty good this year. The bullpen is good. I just think the Mariners are a better team than the Guardians. I don't think the Guardians are a bad team at all. I just like the Mariners all the way around. That's just me. What else we got? Tyler, do you think there's a chance the Giants get in? Nah. I mean, the Giants are playing pretty good, but they're 8-2 in their last 10. They've won 3 straight. Playing right now. Are they winning right now? What are we doing? Yeah, they're up 5-0 right now. I just don't think there's going to be enough time. There's no way. Their magic number is 2 to get eliminated. There's no way. I don't see it. It's too little too late for the Giants. But I think that's a good sign for next year. You got good players on this team. I think the Giants are going to be out there this offseason making some noise. So I'm definitely excited for that. Retro Baseball is here. What is going on, my friend? He says there's just nothing quite like a good old late night Robbie stream. It is late. It is late. I want to do this earlier. And, I just got into just like a cleaning mode. The apartment was looking a little, needed to kind of spruce up the place a little bit. And I'm like, you know what? It's not too late. I'll go live. But Retro Baseball, thank you for coming out tonight. Everyone, go follow Retro Baseball. He's got good stuff. All righty, let's move on to our next story, shall we? Let's move on. Speaking of the playoffs, the Blue Jays. They have clinched a wild card spot. Let's go take a look here. The Orioles took the loss today, so in the process, that gave the Blue Jays the playoff spot. So here we go. Alrighty. But it still remains to be seen where they will end up falling here. So actually, let me pull up the standings. I don't know why I just closed out of it. My potato brain kicking in. What can I say? Here we go. So the Blue Jays, as of right now, are the number one wild card, ahead of the Mariners by a couple of games. So definitely could change. Tampa, they're slumping a little bit lately. But, the Orioles have not been eliminated. But because of the loss, the Blue Jays are guaranteed to get in, right? Now, could Tampa end up just completely free-falling and losing the rest of their games and the Orioles winning out the rest of their games? Then most likely, probably not. But Toronto is in. And, I have this weird feeling about Toronto. I don't know. Is Toronto about to just get red hot for the playoffs? Are they about to just go into this thing just on fire? I don't know, man. I mean, taking a look here, they're 4-6 in their last 10. They're not playing great as of late, but God, this Blue Jays team just they scare me a little bit. I mean, looking over the last 7, you don't want to let this lineup get hot. Right now, they're kind of middle of the road, 18th overall in WRC+, 97 WRC+. But I just look at the matchups. The last 7, their bullpen, they are doing pretty well here. 8th overall in Fangraph WAR, 3.45 ERA. The walks need to come down a little bit, over 4 walks per 9. The FIP is a 3.12, though. I like that. Taking a look at the starting, Toronto. Here's the one thing here. You're going to see over their last 7 a 5.40 ERA, but the FIP is a 3.06. I look at the FIP. The ERA definitely tells you something, but the FIP, I'm looking at it, I'm using that to kind of give me an idea of what this pitching could look like down the road. And it's an expected number. I think the Blue Jays, man, when you got Kevin Gausman, when you got Alek Manoah, when you got a solid guy like Ross Stripling to me, if there is a most underrated award, I think Ross Stripling would be in the running for it. This guy has been fantastic. I don't think you can give the ball to a Jose Barrios in the playoffs. I don't think you should do it. I don't think it's a good idea. I think, if anything, a mop-up role in the bullpen, something, maybe he can come in for a couple innings. Maybe that'll end up being good for him, just kind of keep things simple coming out of the bullpen, give you an inning or two. I think Barrios could end up having a valuable role in the bullpen in the playoffs, but right now, I think you got to go Gausman, Manoah, Stripling. And then in a game 4, yeah, you can go Barrios there, but maybe use that game 4 as more of like a bit of a bullpen game. Only give Barrios a slight leash, but if he starts faltering, you got to yank him pretty quick, and you got to go bullpen game at that point. So I like the Blue Jays pitching. The offense, my goodness. He's got bats all over the place. And the bullpen's been doing pretty well lately. So, and I think Vlad is starting to hit. If we actually, Whit Merrifield has been hitting a little bit lately, so that's nice to see. Let's see. Where is Vlad? Oh, we got a super chat coming in. Jimmy Productions, what is going on? How are we doing? If Aaron Judge leaves the Yankees in free agency, are they a playoff team? Yeah, I think that the Yankees are always going to find a way to be a playoff team. You know, they're always going to be in the mix. Losing Aaron Judge would be tough. He has been a huge part of their offense. I feel like in the end, if they end up losing Judge, they'll find a way to fill it. You know, are they going to do a great job with it? I mean, that remains to be seen. But if they lose Judge, they will go out there and they'll go get a guy. You know, I think they're going to make a good effort for him. I still think you have to consider the Yankees as a strong contender for Judge, you know, and end up coming to an agreement on a deal, even after not being able to come to an agreement this year. So I'm not counting the Yankees out for, you know, an Aaron Judge extension. But if the Yankees do lose Aaron Judge, I think they're always going to be a team that's going to be in the mix. Could they end up taking a bit of a step back? Sure. That's a lot of offense to replace. Aaron Judge is a 10-win player, you know? Literally, that guy has contributed over 10 wins to that team, you know, based off of his Fangraph WAR. That's tough. So, but the Yankees, they'll find a way to replace him. Will they be able to fully? Probably not, but they'll do something. They'll always be in the mix of the playoffs. They'll always be in the mix. So, here we go. Let's move on here. The Toronto Blue Jays, I definitely think, can be a very dangerous team in the playoffs. They're one of those teams where you don't want to let them get hot. You don't want them to get hot. That's kind of the thing. They got pitching that can match up with you. They got a relentless offense. They have talent in that bullpen. You don't want that bullpen, you know, to hit their stride. Man, you know, got Romano at the back end. That's a good team. It's just one of those teams where they just haven't fully put it together this year, like as well as we thought they could have. But they have been playing pretty well over the last few weeks. Lately, in the last week or so, not so much. But don't let the Blue Jays get hot. Jimmy Productions, what is going on? $4.99. How you doing, my friend? If Aaron Judge went to the Red Sox, would the Yankees fans still like him? I mean, that's a good question. I think it would end up being like a half and half kind of a thing. I don't know. Let's say Aaron Judge, he ends up signing with the Red Sox, right? And then he goes back to Yankee Stadium. You would definitely hear boos, of course. You would hear some cheers. People will still, you know, give him an ovation. Definitely stand up for him and give him an applause. But a lot of Yankee fans would definitely boo him. I'd probably go like maybe 60-40. Maybe 55-45, kind of like right around there. You know, so Aaron Judge on the Red Sox, though. Oh, my. I don't think the Red Sox would do it, especially after not signing Mookie Betts a couple of years ago. And you're going to turn around and you're going to give that money to Judge. I mean, I don't know. I think Betts, I don't know. I think you would have just signed Betts. I don't see Bloom using that kind of money on Aaron Judge. I just don't see it. But moving on to our next story. Jimmy, thank you for the couple of super chats. Do appreciate that, my friend. Here we go. Let's talk about, speaking of free agency, let's talk about the Twins. They're going to have a busy offseason. Derek Falvey returning to the Twins in 2023 as the president of baseball operations. And, hey, for the Twins, they were sitting pretty there for a little while. They had a lot of injuries this year. They just didn't have the depth in the end to be able to hang on to that division. If you really look at that division, in the end, the team that had the most depth won the division, right? The Cleveland Guardians have a ton of organizational depth. The White Sox, not so much. The Twins, maybe a little bit more, but not so much. The Guardians had all the depth in the world. They could turn to young guys, and look what ended up happening. And the Twins, they will be bringing back Derek Falvey. Hey, if you go back to this past offseason, you brought in Correa, you made the trade for Sonny Gray, you signed a couple other pieces as well. You brought in Gary Sanchez, you brought in Gio Urshela. They made moves, so it's going to be interesting to see what they do. don't forget about the Chris Paddock trade. Don't forget about the Tyler Mahle trade at the trade deadline as well. You got Jorge Lopez for your bullpen. It's a good-looking team. They just ran into a lot of health issues, and I think the Twins are going to continue to be busy. I think Falvey, there was a good offseason. They just ran into injuries. I don't see why you would turn the page on him. It was a productive offseason last year. A lot of people really liked what the Twins did. I don't think there's any reason, to put the blame on Derek Falvey for what ended up happening in the second half. It just wasn't in the cards. They didn't have enough depth. You had injuries. That's what it is. I think they're going to go out here in this offseason. I think they're going to have another productive offseason. Now, the question is, will Carlos Correa head back to the Minnesota Twins? That's going to be a very interesting free agency for Carlos Correa here. He actually talked about it after his game, and let's actually pull it up here. So this was today. And let's actually take a listen here.
I go to the mall and I go to the Dior store and I want something, I get it. I ask how much it costs and I buy it. So if you really want something, you just go get it. So yeah, I mean I'm the product here, and if they want my product, they just gotta get it. I go to
So he pretty much just said it. If you want my product, then you gotta go out there and you gotta go spend the money. He is pretty much saying here he is opting out of that contract. Everyone knew this was gonna happen. When you had the opt-out clause, when he put in that opt-out clause of that contract, it was a massive 3-year deal. And let me go back here. And but once you saw the opt-out, it was like, all right, he's going to the Twins for a year because he could not get that long-term deal. He'll play for the Twins for a year, and then he'll go back to free agency. It always felt weird, going to the Twins. He probably thought, all right, 1 year, maybe this team could be good, maybe not. Might as well go play here and, go see if we can make the playoffs. I can just, spend another season and put up some numbers and go back out into the market next year. And I think in the end, it ends up being better for him because the market last offseason, the thing is there was a market for him, but there just wasn't there weren't a lot of teams that wanted to break the bank for him because there were questions about his health, especially with the back. He had some other things going on. But, people in organizations, they were a little timid about giving him a long-term deal. Now, the Detroit Tigers offered him 10 years, $275 million, but that wasn't enough money for him. The Orioles were looking like a possible candidate for him last offseason. There were some rumors out there that they were willing to go 10 years, right around $300 million, but he felt like he was worth more than that. So it's going to be interesting because there are teams now that I think they might do it. And again, I still think there's going to be those teams that they're still going to balk at the idea of it. But now you got some teams that might be willing to maybe go that extra mile for someone like Carlos Correa. So if we go down here, go to the bottom of the shortstop leaderboards here in terms of offense and defense when it comes to FanGraph WAR. So the first team that jumps off, I don't think the Angels are going to do it. I think the Angels, their focus right now is they need to add just quality depth and pitching. I don't think they need to be going after a big bat. So I'll cross the Angels off that list. Maybe you could hear them a little bit, but I don't think so. The Yankees. A lot of people were thinking maybe Correa can go to the Yankees. I don't think he's going to go to the Yankees. I think it could work, but I just think, I don't know. They like Volpe there, and I think they're looking at him as the future. I don't think they're going to break the bank for Carlos Correa. I just don't see it. Probably not. I think the Giants could be really interesting. Look out for the San Francisco Giants. Now, I understand you have Brandon Crawford. I get that, but he's on his last year of his deal next year. You also have Marco Luciano, but Luciano could also move over to third. That's a possibility as well. So I think the Giants could be a candidate for Carlos Correa. I mean, what you do with Crawford, I'm not quite sure. Could you shift him over to second maybe maybe more of a bench role. The Giants, they're going to be out there. They're going to be looking to spend some money. The Tigers could be interesting. Could you move Baez over to second and then bring in Correa for short? Maybe. I don't know. Baltimore, I think, is extremely interesting. I thought Baltimore last year, I was saying it felt like every single stream that Baltimore were a sleeper candidate because they made a lot of sense. They weren't quite there at a competitive standpoint at that point, but now look at the season that they've had. Look at all this young talent that's come up. Now, what are you going to do with Jorge Mateo? But I think if you have a choice between Mateo and Carlos Correa, you're going Carlos Correa all day. So I think Baltimore is definitely a candidate for Carlos Correa. Absolutely. The Phillies, I think, are as well. You cut ties with Didi Gregorius, Bryson Stott. You can move him somewhere. I think the Phillies, I know they spent big money on Schwarber and Castellanos, so that's the only thing that holds me back with the Phillies a little bit. Do they want to keep spending all this money? That'd be a lot of money on that payroll. So I think besides the money point of view, I think from a fit point of view, they do make some sense. So look out for them. I think the Cubs could be interesting, which, kind of stinks to say because Nico Hoerner, I think, has had a breakout year. He's had a really good season. And he's been a very good defensive shortstop this year as well. But if you have the opportunity to add someone like Carlos Correa, and they were in on Correa last offseason, I think you take that chance and you go for it. I think the Cubs, that they want to make some kind of a splash. They want to bring in a guy. I think Correa could be that guy. And Hoerner, you would have to move him. Could you move him over to second? But then what do you do with the Nick Madrigal? I don't know. That's where it gets a little interesting because I think there's going to be a lot of Cubs fans that would say no, they'd just rather have Nico Hoerner. I don't know. I think if you could add someone like Correa, that'd be amazing. So I honestly think the two teams to me that are the most intriguing, I would say the Orioles and the Giants. I think the Giants would prefer to go after Aaron Judge personally, just because you have Luciano there and he can just slide in a short at some point. So I think they would be better served going after Aaron Judge, but let's say that doesn't work out. And then you could maybe turn to Correa if he's still available. So I think the Orioles overall are the most intriguing. I think they make the most sense. I think they went after him last offseason. I think they're going to go after him again, especially after the year that they've had. I mean, you got all this momentum right now as an organization. Go get someone like Correa. You got the Mike Elias connection there as well. I think the Orioles make the most sense for Carlos Correa, to be completely honest. And I think it's going to be another fun offseason of Carlos Correa rumors. I remember when he signed with the Twins last offseason, I went live at, 2 in the morning? And I'm thinking, you got to be kidding me. I'm dead tired, and I'm going live at 2 in the morning. Ended up being amazing. I think we had 600 people in that stream, and it was 2 in the morning. It was amazing. But Carlos Correa, that's going to be fun. We got one more story to talk about. Speaking of Aaron Judge, is he the true home run king? According to Roger Maris Jr., he is. Let's pull up the story. Here we go. Where is this story? Here we go. Roger Maris Jr. says Aaron Judge should be considered true record holder if he hits 62 home runs. Maris Jr. says he considers the records held by Barry Bonds and Mark McGwire to be illegitimate. So if you all missed it, if you're living under a rock, Aaron Judge tied Roger Maris in Toronto the other night. And here is the quote from Roger Maris's son. I think Judge breaking the record means a lot, not just for me, but for a lot of people. He's clean. He's a Yankee. He plays the game the right way. I think he gives people a chance to look at somebody who should be revered for hitting 62 home runs and not just as a guy who did it in the American League. He should be revered for being the actual single season home run champ. That's really who he is if he hits 62, and I think that's what needs to happen. I think baseball needs to look at records, and I think baseball should do something. I disagree. I think Barry Bonds is the home run single season king. Absolutely. I don't care about the steroids because you know what? You're playing in a different era at that point. Pictures were juicing up. It was a different era. That's just how I feel. To me, it is what it is. You know, it is what it is. That's just my point blank opinion on it. You know, Bonds was, yeah, sure. Dude was having some Trent bologna sandwiches over there, but he was going up against guys that were also doing stuff. So to me, that it evens out. It was just a different era. I'm not condoning, you know, people take PEDs. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, I think Bonds, he was also going, there was also just so many other hitters that were taking stuff at that point in time. It was just the era that it was in. I don't think you should just take away what Bonds did. That season that he had that year was just absolutely amazing. Now, the one thing you could say about Aaron Judge, could you say his season, his amount of home runs this year is more impressive than Bonds? I think that could be a debate. Why do I say that? Look at the way pitching is these days. Pitching, now there was some really good pitching back in 2001, but pitching today, holy cow, these guys are just on another level. Like, you know, the velocity is just through the roof throughout the league. Stuff-wise, it's just incredible throughout the league. You had some guys back at that time who were really good, but I would say pitching these days is just a lot more talented. I mean, maybe you could argue that, you know, drop an argument down below if you think, you know, pitching was more talented back in that year, let me know. I just think today, you know, with just how velocity is, just stuff is just incredible. I mean, goodness gracious. That could be an argument. I think that could be an argument, but I'm not just going to sit here and say, oh, Bonds, McGuire, they're illegitimate. No, they're legitimate because they're going up against other guys that were doing it too. So, I don't know. I think for me personally, it's an even playing field. That's just my opinion. Let me know what you think. But that's just me. I do appreciate what he has to say, though. I respect what he has to say. I'm glad that he cares about his father's record. You know, it means something to him, and I think that's a really cool thing. I'm glad that he's going to all these games. I'm glad that he's following it. I think it's great, you know, and I think he's keeping that relationship strong, you know, with the Yankee organization, you know, and I think it's a really good thing. I disagree with this personally. That's just my opinion, though, and I'm welcome to all opinions. But yeah, I'm not just gonna sit here and say, you know, Bonds and McGuire are illegitimate. You know, I'm just not. That's not my taste. You know, that's just me though. But everyone, that's all I got. That's all I got for tonight. I'm gonna get out of here. I am starting to get kind of tired. I might have to stop doing these, you know, late night streams because, man, I swear my brain just shuts off sometimes. So I'm gonna have to start doing these a little earlier. I think a little earlier. So I'm definitely gonna be doing some more streams moving forward over the next month. I mean, to be honest with you, moving forward, and especially with the offseason coming up after the playoffs, but definitely the playoffs, I will be going live quite a bit. I'll be doing post-game stuff. I'll probably do a few watch-alongs here and there. But yeah, be on the lookout, everyone. We're really going to start ramping it up here. I got playoff predictions that I'm going to start coming out with next week. I came out with a video today, my top breakout players for this year. Be on the lookout for that. Starting to pump up the content. Starting to pump it up, everyone. So everyone, make sure that you hit that bell notification so that way every single time I go live or post a video, you know about it. Everyone, if you can on the way out, hit the like button. Share the stream as well if you can. And if you are new, hit that subscribe button down below. For the Super Chats, thank you for the Super Chats tonight. Really do appreciate that. It definitely goes a long way. But everyone, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to get some sleep. I'm exhausted. But have yourself a great night. And I'll talk to you next time.